And to take a closer look at President Moon Jae-in's speech at the UN, Dr. Kim Sang-woo, chairman of the East Asia Cultural Project, joins me in the studio today. So good to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so like we heard earlier in our newscast, President Moon Jae-in proposed remodeling the DMZ into international peace zones. So what can we make of such a proposal?
Well, as symbolism goes, I mean, if it's realized, it will be a wonderful thing. But we have to understand, of course, that it's dependent on the success or the failure of denuclearization negotiation between the U.S. and North Korea.
Right.
And there's a pitfall of minds in that regard.
Now, the president also talked about how South Korea is open to offering security guarantees to North Korea in order to bring about the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Now, what does he mean by security guarantees to North Korea, and how does this kind of go along with U.S. President Donald Trump's recent talks of a new method in dealing with North Korea's denuclearization?
Well, security guarantees, I'm sure that would be on the North Korean side would be from the U.S. would be more effective. And the Trump administration from the beginning has declared the 4 no's, which is no regime change, no regime collapse, no absorption, unification through absorption, and no advancing beyond the 38th parallel. But security guarantees has been given to North Korea since 1995, 2005 already. Now, the thing is how to make it real. And just by signing on the dotted line in a context of a text, it will not satisfy North Korea. North Korea wants something that they can feel and actually be able to connect to. So therefore, it's going to be very difficult to persuade them. And the new deal or the method, the U.S. has not yet specified what it means by new method,
right.
but North Korea thinks that it might be a step-by-step approach to denuclearization negotiation, which is the consistent stance that North Korea had been standing by.
Right. Could one of the security guarantees perhaps be the suspension of the joint military drills between the U.S. and South Korea?
Well, yes, that is one, of course, but the security guarantees you mentioned will be, again, it's all dependent on what North Korea wants and sees as a security guarantee. Will it be the nuclear umbrella of the U.S. to be demolished?
Right.
Not just for South Korea, but Japan and regions that can affect North Korea. So it's very difficult to say what North Korea really wants to see as a security guarantee.
All right. Now, President Moon's speech under our belts now with that, what are your prospects for future North Korea-U.S. denuclearization talks?
I think the reason why President Moon went to the United Nations, because he's been going there since his presidency. He was not going to go this time, but decided to go anyway, was because to have this talk, the summit with President Trump, because he also, as North Korea does as well, sees that there are some possibility of change in the U.S. position in terms of negotiating with the North. So, and also the North is expectant that U.S. might take a approach that is acceptable to them, and therefore the working level talks will begin within a week or 2.
Right.
And that's the first step. Now, then we will know whether or not it can go to a summit between Kim Jong-un and Trump.
And like we heard earlier, we recently heard of the replacement of U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton with O'Brien,
Yes.
which kind of showed that there's perhaps a shift in President Trump's view in dealing with North Korea.
That's true, but I'm sure that President Trump wants to see something tangible achieved because of his re-election campaign next year. He wants to have a diplomatic accomplishment, and he wants to show North Korea to be that. But having said that, I mean, it's one thing that Trump administration takes an approach towards North Korea. It's another whether they can get approval from the Congress. And the Congress will not easily accept a half-baked deal.
Okay. Now, during his speech, President Moon also emphasized safeguarding free and fair trade, and he also talked about the foundation of earnest self-reflection of history. Although he didn't mention Japan by the name, we obviously could make sense that this was targeting Japan, right? His message.
Yes.
So what can we make of this?
Well, everyone saw through it. I mean, everyone knew it was targeted to Japan, of course. But at the same breath, he also said that he is willing to sit down and talk of how to establish a relationship that will be everlasting and peaceful and all this. So he has stuck to his gun in the sense that he is consistently saying to Japan that you have to face the historical issues. At the same time, he's saying that we can achieve this through dialogue and understanding. Again, then now it depends on Japan,
right,
whether Japan will accept this. But Japan has been consistently saying that the historical issue has to be resolved, especially the Supreme Court's ruling, Korean Supreme Court's ruling on the forced labor issue.
So you don't expect any form of formal dialogue between South Korea and Japan anytime soon?
I think at the United Nations there will be high-level diplomatic negotiations. But that being said, I mean, I think they will stick to their position at that talks as well. But there may be some way of resolving this issue. It's if the South Korean government takes a little bit more embracing the situation and considers the fact that they will take part in the resolving this issue, because in the beginning the South Korean government rejected taking a position.
Right.
So that can be a breakthrough, a possible breakthrough for the talks for both sides.
All right, definitely a lot to keep our eyes on, I guess, from what comes out of New York. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah.